Hi everybody, this is Karen Rodriguez. Welcome back to this series on switching to the Robinson curriculum and then we talk about different educational approaches. If you're unfamiliar with these methods that I'm talking about, we'll put a link in this description and also a card for a video that I recently did on each of these different models. Just a little brief introduction to what each style is. And in this series, we're going over in which ways Robinson curriculum can be similar, very different, and tips on how to make the transition. So in this video, we're going to talk about classical education, how to make the switch from that classical viewpoint. So let's talk about in which ways it could be a little bit similar and very different. Now, we do have in common classical literature, and also we do have in common that for the younger age, the younger kids, we focus on memorization. However, with the Robinson curriculum, we're just focusing on memorizing the math facts and it ends there. Versus classical education also focuses on memorizing Latin or grammar rules, states and capitals. So it goes a bit further. The Robinson curriculum does not use the trivium, the three-step approach. So that's something to keep in mind. We're just focusing on the basic 3 R's. And while there's nothing wrong with learning Latin or learning a lot of these other things or incorporating more poetry and nature study and classical music study, all of these different things, you only have so much time during the day. And this is meant to be a self-taught curriculum where they are teaching themselves and removing the teacher, versus the classical approach has a lot more of an emphasis on a teacher. So that is a big difference in the approach and something you will have to get used to, removing yourself as that teacher. All right, so let's talk about some tips on how to make the transition more smoothly. Like I said, you're only putting an emphasis on memorizing the math facts in order to get them started on Saxon 5-4. But if you really want them to memorize all of these other things, then there's plenty of time to do it. There's a lot of great songs out there you can listen to in the car. You can listen to it while you're preparing a meal together. You can still work on memorizing a history timeline if that's important to you. But just know that the pressure is off. You don't have to do these things. You can if you want to, if your season of life allows you to, then yeah, go for it. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. It's just you only have so much time during the day, and you're trying to encourage them to learn information on their own. And you want to be mindful, obviously, of not overwhelming the child with too much information or burning them out. What you want is for them to have a love of learning. A lot of parents make the mistake in thinking, well, I can't do the Robinson curriculum because I don't want to just read those books. We want to read other books as well. And it's not an either or thing. The RC book list is the core order book list. And from it, you get a lot of literature and poetry and also civics and government and history. That's your required reading. However, feel free to add what other books you want to read. There's plenty of other time during the day. By just focusing on the 3 R's, you're giving yourself time for the rest of the day to learn about what you want to learn about. And that can include poetry or nature study or music study. But again, there's not the pressure that you have to check off that box for that day on your curriculum. There's no pressure. You can do that during the rest of the day. You can encourage them to learn that information on their own. Or if you want to have poetry tea time or music appreciation time and do that with them, then you can. But there's just not that pressure that you need to make sure you're getting this done. You need to make sure you're checking that off on the list. And I think this way you can enjoy it more because there's no pressure. So to summarize this video, yes, there's a lot of classical literature and they are memorizing math facts at a young age, and you have time during the rest of the day to focus on whatever else that you want to focus on. But this does not follow a trivium 3-step process. You are removing yourself as that teacher and you are focusing on giving them a solid foundation on the 3 R's. And that will give you the freedom to explore other interests in a no pressure way. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comments below and stay tuned for another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.